Welcome back. So last time we downloaded the program or we located it, and now we're actually going to test it out and just play a little bit with it, just so you can get used to writing on it. You can go down to Launchpad here, but again that takes too long for me, and I just like to take all my fingers and just swipe them together like one big pinch on my trackpad. Then you go up and find your program called GIMP, and then you need to click on it. This is going to open up the program itself. We're just going to wait for it to finish up. Still going. Here we go. So you're going to have your interface here. We're going to start off by creating something for you to actually draw on, because right now you can't really draw on anything. So we're going to get our background here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, and then we're going to create a new file here. This is going to be our canvas that we're going to write on. It's going to ask you what size. Now you can choose from some templates up here. Right now, for what I'm going to be working on, I don't like any of those templates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom one just for what I want to do. And we're going to be doing this a lot, is creating a custom one so that you can get exactly what you want out of it. So what I found best so far is your width is about 1,300 pixels, and your height is going to be about 1,000 pixels. And the reason being is later on when we go to change our brush size, we want something big enough to be able to have an appropriate size brush as we are drawing on there and make it look good. So again, 1,300 by 100 is what I found is best for me and the screen that I have. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to create it. Now it's kind of a window by itself, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the corners and I'm going to drag it out, and still it's not fitting the full size of the screen. So what I would like to do is go to View and then Zoom, and I want to fit this image to the window itself. So now it's going to pretty much almost fit this entire window, and that's what I like. I want to see the whole thing. Now what happens is when I go to draw this, the brush size is going to be way too big for my own preferences. So I'm going to go over to my brush size here. And what you want to do is play around with what size you want. What works best for me, what I like, is around a 7 or an 8. And now when I go to draw, it's a good size for what I like drawing with. Now again, that's completely up to you. I suggest you go ahead and play with the size to suit your own needs. Now, if you just saw what I draw earlier, when I go like this, it kind of looks like you are airbrushing it, and it's not that dark. Well, that's because the tool that we're using over here is the airbrush by default, which I am not a big fan of. One of the next ones is the pencil tool, and you can draw like this, and it is very harsh and jagged, and I'm not a big fan of that one. So my favorite is the brush tool over here, and it, to me, gets one of the most smoothest lines you can have, and I prefer it. You choose out of those three for activity what you feel works best for you. I'm going to choose the brush tool at this time. So let's get rid of all these, and we're going to use just the brush tool. So in a Khan Academy style video, usually you're doing some sort of math or computer science or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do something like that. So I want to start off with something super basic, and this is just, for me, going to get me used to drawing on this canvas. So I'm just going to play around with it and maybe do 4 plus 4 equals 8. Okay, so now I'm getting used to drawing out my numbers like this. because if you're going to be doing math lessons on here and you're going to be working around and showing your students how to solve math problems, you're going to want to draw out and practice something like that. You can also practice drawing letters just to get that practice in and just make sure that it starts to feel natural. I excuse me, sorry guys. I love pizza. I really do love pizza. You can start drawing images. So let's see, I can draw a shape here. Let's see, there we go. Maybe a heart with an arrow through it. And then if you need to get used to the undo button. So let's say I go to draw, and oh my goodness, I did a horrible job drawing my circle. Well, if you remember earlier when we set up our tablet and our pen, we assigned one of our buttons on the pen itself to undo. And anytime you make a mistake, it's as simple as long as your pen is close to the tablet, you just hit that undo button, and voila, it disappears just like that. And you can retry it over and oh, I messed up again, over and over. Oh, I messed up again. And this time it is good enough. That is okay for me. So now that you've gotten your practice and you have worked on your numbers, maybe your letters, shapes, and it starts to feel natural now and you just love using it, we're going to save this image, or what we're going to call is export in GIMP. So you go up to File over here, go down to Export, and we're going to export this image. Now, I have found that the easiest way for me to do this is to just save things to the desktop and move them later. And up here we need to call it something. So if you just start typing it itself, we're going to say first image. We're just going to call it that. And we're just going to leave this .png as it is. It's a very high resolution image. And we're going to just export all images as it is and just hit export. Once you do that, it's going to come up with a whole bunch of words that you don't know. And we're just going to say, you know what, that looks good to me. Compression level, we want to keep that as high as it is so that it looks the best you can have it look. And then we're going to hit export. This is going to save our image. And we can, at that point, get rid of this and go find our image. So here's our image, our first image that we just created as a .png, super high file format, and voila, you have your own digital image. Get rid of that, come back down here, bring GIMP back up again. There's my image. You've created your own canvas size. You have experimented with different types of brushes to create your art with. You have practiced drawing itself to where it starts to feel natural, and then saved it. There you go. You guys are ready to go with this, and we're going to move on to more advanced techniques in the future. All right, see you then.